Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor. Let's go ahead and get in here. We're going to be doing a legendary Wulfhart campaign here. The campaign just released yesterday. And I appreciate everyone being really patient with me. That are big time fans of the channel. A couple of things. I explained this in a video earlier today. But I do things a little bit differently than a lot of other people out there. And one of the big differences is that... sorry if I'm yelling. This is a bit loud. There we go. One of the big differences is that twofold. I don't have early access. I could apply and probably get it, but I don't have early access, so I was unable to practice a lot of this stuff during the beta or whatever, and I play it on Legendary. Now, this is key, and a lot of people who haven't played on Legendary and who aren't content creators may not be able to fully appreciate this, but even if you drop it down to very hard, that is far, far easier than Legendary. And I'm saying this because a big thing about Legendary is what it says right here. No manual saves. So whenever you screw up, then you lose. There are no takesies, backsies. You lose. And so if you're a content creator trying to learn the content like me, and this is what happened to me, you know, I get 4 or 5 turns deep. This is a very chaotic campaign with lots of new mechanics. And then I take on a challenge that's a bit too hard, end up losing my army. You just lose the game. I can't go back to a previous save. So that's 5 hours that I was like trying to work through this campaign, 5 episodes I recorded that are just never going to show up because I lose. And it's just kind of lame to show an episode where, you know, you lose. And that happens a lot when you're trying to learn new complicated campaigns that are really challenging. You know, it takes a while to get the footage. So I always make sure that I pre-record like 8 to 10 episodes until I feel like I have a pretty good foothold on the campaign. And there's a pretty good chance that we're going to succeed before I release those episodes. So that's why I'm a day later than a lot of other people who have episodes on day 1 because they had, you know, pre-release access. They already had some footage, and they are not playing it on Legendary, so they can always do back saves, and they can start releasing episodes early because if they screw up, they can always go back to a previous save and then just edit the video and come right back in. So anyways, let's go ahead and get in here. I just want to throw that caveat out there. I'm not trying to hold out on you guys. I spent like 9 hours practicing this and trying to get footage yesterday, so we're going to try to get some today. But I did learn a lot of really good stuff that can help you out in your campaigns and can help you appreciate this campaign a little bit more. Okay, so what's different about the Hunts Marshal? Well, first of all, you can't get a lot of complex units. We'll show you when you get in there. You have to level up basically your kind of like your Vortex currency before you can start getting great swords, demigriffs, a lot of the really good units. So you just have to work with these kind of tier 1 units for the most part. And that makes it really hard because you have to fight against Lizardmen. But there are some early on, and they are one of the strongest factions in the game early. But you do have some things to help you out. You do get reinforcements. We'll talk about that when we get in there. And you do get a big discount on archers and huntsman units, and you have a 50% ambush chance, so that plus 50%. So that means that it's pretty much 100% ambush anytime you're in ambush stance. So anyways, let's get in there, and then I'll describe it during the load screen and in between turns, the different mechanics, so that we can save a bit of time. But we're doing Legendary, as I said, very hard, which is the hardest battle mode. You can't get any harder than that, so crank it up, and we're going to play very aggressively. A lot of people will go ahead and start it. And I'm just going to skip the cutscene just to save some time. You can go through, and it's on YouTube. You can just watch cutscene for Huntsman. A lot of people, a lot of content creators that I saw, you know, they're not playing on Legendary. They're saying, whoa, take it easy. Don't be too aggressive because of the aggression penalties and things like that. And to that, I say, hell no. We're going aggressive. We're going all out. We're going to have some tough fights. We're going to have fun in this campaign.
Having voyaged across the great ocean,
we're not running a pansy
Emperor's
campaign.
command.
We're going hardcore here. So let's talk about some of these mechanics real quick, and then we'll get into a fight early on. And then I'll just sort of like, I like to space it out with like fight, talk about some stuff for maybe 10 minutes or so, another fight, talk about some stuff, fight, and just try to get at least a couple of fights every episode. But okay, so here's kind of your Vortex stuff. You aren't actually in the race with other people, so I don't know how I feel about that. I wish you were still racing other people. I like that in the Vortex, but you're kind of doing your own thing. But this is called a claim, and you basically just do normal aggressive things you would do. Anyways, you try to gain settlements, you upgrade ports. You either build ports or upgrade them. and that allows you, or that gives you some extra points on this. If you unlock your hunters, which are like special heroes you can get, which are kind of story driven, pretty cool units. We'll talk about those here in just a little bit. Then you get some points for that, and if you gain territory, then you gain some points. So, pretty cool, fairly standard mechanic in a lot of things. You're just aggressive, you get rewarded. And then over here, this is something where people were saying, you know, be cautious, because as you kill armies, raid territories, sack things, burn things, just do aggressive stuff, then the people around you hate you more and more because you're a foreign, you know, an outsider in their lands. And so as you go up in this, the enemy gets a lot of buffs. So once you get up to level 5, the enemy gets plus 10 leadership and plus 25% weapon strength. And you get -5 public order. So it's brutal. However, you do get these things called reinforcements, and these are like certain types of regiments of renown. You get a dilemma where you get to choose between 1 of 4 options. And that's how you get your higher tier units, because in your normal towns, you can't start building these. Like, you can't get great swords, you can't even get like Empire Knights, you know, cannons, demigriffs. You can't get anything that's X'd out until you reach a certain threshold of acclaim. So right here you can get the barracks. That will allow you to get great swords once you get this. And then over here, more supplies. And then this allows you to get the menagerie and the foundry. So that's what you need for demigriffs and sort of the higher end artillery. And then that's the tier 5 artillery with siege tanks and things like that. And as you can see, it starts saying things like elite Imperial supplies. These are elite Imperial supplies, advanced, and standard. So whenever you get that dilemma, you'll get some basic units at first. So an example of this is, one option will be 3 Empire Knights and 2 Pistoliers if you want the cavalry version. There's like an artillery version, a cavalry version, an infantry version. I can't remember the 4th one offhand. I think it's like a wagon version where you can get some war wagons. But like the cavalry version, you get those 3 Empire Knights and 2 Pistoliers. However, if you get the advanced version, then you get 2 Reichsguard and 1 Demigriff. So it's a huge, huge upgrade. Empire Knights really aren't that great. They're okay, but they're not that great for their cost. The Pistoliers are actually quite good. They've had their costs reduced to like 125. I think they used to be like 250 or something. So those are actually a really good bargain. But anyways, so you want to get this up pretty quickly so that you can unlock some more buildings and you get better supplies. Now, as your aggression goes up, you get supplies more quickly. So your first drop happens in 4 turns. But after that, it starts, at least on Legendary, I don't know if it's different on different difficulty, it starts at 50. You have to wait 50 more turns. But then as you go up, then your remaining time proportionally goes down. I'm not sure how much it goes down. This says very high frequency. From my experience, it looks like every time you move it, I think it's like 20% from its previous. So at 50, it would drop down to like 40. It might be more than that. I don't know the exact number offhand. But if you get it all the way up to tier 5, then you get the dispatch immediately. And your hostility resets to 0 after 5 turns. Now, on top of that, it doesn't say this, but they spawn a 20-stack army that's fairly close to one of your towns, and they try to come attack you too, like this special Lizardmen faction. It's like the spirit faction or something. So they do come after you with a 20-stack for that, but you do get immediate supplies. So I think one of the best things you can do, if you can time it correctly, is keep it at 4. And usually you'll have like maybe 5 turns left when you keep it at 4, and then try to wait 5 turns to try not to fight somebody or raise something or whatever. And then as soon as you get the reinforcements, it'll reset over again. I'm not sure what it resets at though. It might reset at 10 turns or something like that. Then after you get your package, then immediately the next turn, like fight something and bump it up to 5, and you can get 2 shipments at once, basically, if you want that. So that's the trick. If you can time it right, you can double tap those shipments when it resets after you get it at 4, then you can get it immediately at 5. So you may not always be able to do that, but that's a really quick trick you can do to get a bunch of them. Let's go ahead and get into the fight, and then we'll talk about some more stuff here. Now, this fight at the start is actually pretty hard on Legendary. If you don't know, on Legendary as well, so you can't do any previous saves. So that's huge, especially for content creators that I just mentioned. You cannot pause the battle. So it's always real time. You know, on other difficulties, you can pause, you can think about your positioning, you can tell units where to move and stuff like that. You can't do that on Legendary. It all has to be full time. There is no balance of power. So you just kind of have to gauge when you're strong and when you're not strong. So it's hard to tell if you're actually winning the fight or not. And then on top of that, the enemy gets a lot of extra stats. Now those don't show up here, but like in the battle, they have those stats. They have extra leadership. Because CA said this on forums before. They have extra leadership. They have extra accuracy on their weapons. They have fatigue resistance. They might even get like some extra melee attack or weapon damage. I'm not sure about those. And they changed some of this when they went to Warhammer 2 from Warhammer 1. But I know that they get extra leadership 100%, and I'm pretty sure they get some intangible stuff like better accuracy on missile things and fatigue resistance. But you'll notice this if you play on Legendary versus other things. They do not break very easily. They will stay and not run, and they will rally back a lot. So that makes it harder in fights. And then your economy is much tougher as well on Legendary. If you're not aware of that, you get -8 public order, which is a massive deal, because that means that, I'm not sure what it is on lower difficulties. I think it might be -4 on very hard, but that basically means you know, to compensate for having that, you have to take an extra building slot and spend 1,500 gold per town in order to get a tap room to offset the extra public order penalty, or you're just going to be fighting rebellions all game. So that's a really huge cost, especially when you have a crappy starting town like this, where you have a port that takes up a slot. Then you have to be able to recruit your infantry. That's another slot. You don't even have room. Like, where are you going to put public order in this, right? At tier 5, you need a wizard. You need, you know, ideally you'd be getting mortars. If you want to ever get great swords, you're going to have to get a blacksmith. You need so many buildings, and you need some kind of money building. You need public order buildings. Like, you need all of this. But if you play it on lower difficulties, you may not need the public order building as much. So, anyways, makes it a lot more challenging in that sense. And then the money is way tougher too. So if you look up here, we don't have it right now, but if you get a separate army, you'll see something that's called supply lines. They may have renamed it for this just to not be confusing with like the supplies that you get. But basically each extra army that you have beyond the first one makes all of your armies, every unit in every army costs 15% more per extra army. So if you have 2 extra lords with 2 extra armies, all of your units are 30% more upkeep. So it is way harder on Legendary than anything before it. But anyways, let's go ahead and get in here. Just filling you in for people that don't usually play on Legendary.
Ready yourselves!
Trying to make my case why this particular campaign is hard as hell on Legendary, especially if you're a content creator and you have to restart after recording 5 episodes. Okay, let's go ahead and get in the fight. Done. And then we'll talk about the technologies and the hunters and all the other stuff I didn't talk about there. We'll talk about it after this fight, but I just want to make sure we get a fight in here pretty quickly. So what we're going to be going for first, just in general, geography-wise, is of course we're going to complete our province, but then I like to go down and just hit the vampire counts, not proper, but like the vampire rebels really quickly. That allows you to do some on your quest chain with the,
Wulfhart.
You get this, witch hunter dude, and you get to fulfill some of his quests by doing that, and then it gives you a little bit of extra aggression and allows you to level up Marcus a little bit faster.
Ready to fire.
And I think I'm gonna have to see how much we get for occupying a town, but I think that might let us get to level 2 where we can get demigriff reinforcements, and that's something I would really like, is to get the demigriff and Reichsguard. The infantry reinforcements are also quite good too. It doesn't give you an extra greatsword, but you would get an extra halberdier and 1 extra hunter with that if you're up at level 2. But demigriffs are strong. They're very strong. Now, they're not as strong in this as they are in SFO, the Steel Faith mod, which is what I usually play on Legendary on the channel because it's a little bit harder than vanilla. But one problem that you kind of suffer with... now, I think Beastmen beasts are immune to forests. So, against some, I don't remember for sure if they are, but, like, if you have large beasts that are fighting in the woods, then they get a penalty. They lose, like, 20% of their melee attack. So that seems like that'd be a good thing against the Beastmen. The problem is we have a lot of archer type of units, and those trees actually block projectiles. So if you try to fire arrows through trees, then like half of your arrows are going to stick in the trees. So it's actually really, really bad if you have missile units to try to fight in the jungle. You always want to try to fight in the open, especially if you have like artillery. But we can set up over here. The problem is you don't have as much room to kite if you set up over there. And one big issue is, like, yes, you do have Vanguard deploy with like units like this, but
Outriders!
You're slow. Like, they're really slow units. So like skinks can run you down. Like, you only have 36 speed, so, and you cannot fire while running away. It says fire while moving, but that's only when you're moving forward. It's not Parthenon shot. You can't fire in all directions. So all of your units, all of your skirmisher type of units are actually really slow. So it's very awkward to try to use hunters. They're basically just like slightly more expensive archers for the most part to get some extra bonuses with Wulfhart. Okay.
Marcus Wulfhart.
So we have to kill this Bastillodon as fast as we can. We need to put spears in him and just focus fire him because he causes terror. And that will make your units run away, which is very bad. So
no lingering.
Now these guys have pretty decent piercing damage.
Bowstrings taut. Locked in.
Now you want to wait before you fire, use this snipe ability because it does more damage if they're lower health.
Take the ground. Go for the Warhammer. Forward.
I actually don't mind firing on the skinks here because you're just much more likely to kill a lot of them.
Ready. Onward. Sigma guides us. At speed.
So let's see, like the biggest thing, if you can do it, is to try to split them up.
Moving now. Sigma fights with us this day.
You do get some bonuses versus large here.
This way. At speed. Launch. All ranks fire.
Okay, we got him. He's going feral now.
Yes, sir, quickly. Yes, General. Attack! We serve the Emperor. Missiles ready. March! For the Emperor. Marcus Wulfhart. All right.
So I'm gonna try to
Yes,
snipe him.
General.
You do a lot of extra damage once they're lower on health. So he's aiming his shot, boom, it pretty much always hits. So that did a pretty good old chunk of damage to him there. So what we want to do here is just kind of fire into them, fire into their back. Now one thing about shields also that are important to remember is that we'll go ahead and put on the scout thing.
En route. Receive.
Okay, that's fine. We can have spears on him.
Go! Take the ground!
Is that if you fire into people's backs, then it lowers their morale and they don't get to use their shields. So we're gonna try to like flank around here and shoot them in the back if we can. Also, you don't friendly fire into your own people, but you do open yourself up to getting flanked by doing this kind of positioning.
Outriders!
But yeah, just that Bastillodon has to go. Like, he's a huge problem.
Formation, march! By Karl Miraz! We serve the Emperor! No lingering! Yes, my lord! Marcus Wulfhart! Destroy! Crime! Sigma calls!
Just gonna fire him in the back. Okay. It's kind of messed up. You have to be really careful with the skirmisher mode because when you try to walk close to people like this, it can be a problem. I'm not sure what this buff is they have. There we go. Now we're looking good.
Outriders!
Just kiting these guys.
Marcus Wulfhart.
Okay, we'll wait. We can snipe him out later.
Sigma calls! Taking position! Weapons at the ready! Sigma, guide our fire! Pursue the foe! For Heldenhammer! Pursue the foe! The Empire endures! Homing in! Maneuvers! Okay, sir! To battle!
Now I'm gonna save some ammo. But yeah, these guys could rally back in theory, so I'm cool with shooting them down a little bit.
Ready for war!
Actually, let's go ahead and
quick march! Move out! Yes, sir! Take position! Take
go ahead and fan everybody out here, and
bring
then
it down!
let's go ahead and just see if we can get some shots on this dude.
What do you bid?
Okay, they're rallying back over there.
Quick march! Quicker! Go! Marcus Wulfhart!
Snipe them here. Okay, we're out of ammo, so our unit won't skirmish anymore.
By Sigmar's will! Spearman!
Alright, there it is, I think. Did I miss with the shot?
Marcus Wulfhart!
Oh, it got blocked by the hill or something?
Done. Yes, General! March!
Okay.
In my sights.
Looks like it's hitting the hill or whatever.
We're ready!
Okay, come here, come here.
Spearman! Quick march! Sigmar guides us!
It didn't use the ammo though,
Missile
even though it
troops!
like missed.
To battle! To arms! Agreed! Take position! At your service! Quick march! At speed! Hunts Marshal! Yes! Finding
Hide behind
range,
this
sir.
rock. Yeah, I can't get the
To
shot on him because he keeps
battle!
hiding.
At speed!
Actually, there is one more squad of units coming over here, so I kind of want to save a little bit of ammo for that. It's taking way longer than it should, but I'm trying to like get minimal casualties here.
The ground! Attack!
We have a shot here. He's trying to charge me.
Very well.
Bam!
Okay.
Okay, I guess they're running.
Outriders. Sigma guides us.
That's actually kind of
In the
bad.
name
I
of
wish
the
I killed more of
twin-tailed
them.
comet.
And the Bastiladon, but
Marcus Wulfhart. Slay! Yes, my lord. Yes, sir. Quickly. Quick march.
I'll speed this up. We need to try to kill their lord, so we're gonna just attack him again. Okay. Nice, we got decisive victory, which is good. But yeah, Marcus gets extra bonus when he fires on large.
We are vanquished.
And obviously, like, it's just a lot easier to hit a large unit with your missile fire, so
Today, you live.
pretty much always take the gold.
I am the Hunts Marshal. Heading out.
So yeah, this unit's actually pretty bad because it's so expensive. It's 289 gold. By contrast, these are 52. These are 97. We get discounts on those, but even swordsmen are like 110. So we're gonna eventually dismiss this and replace it with something else. Pistoliers are
Wulfhart.
similar, but they're like half cost. And I think Pistoliers a lot of times get even more
The
kills.
nation
Like it
calls.
says this has 200 ammo. It does not really have 200 ammo. Like it doesn't do that much damage. It runs out of ammo like pretty quickly. Like it ran out of ammo before my archers did in that battle, and it says the archers have 22 ammo and this has 200. So I don't know what's up with those numbers, but
Mach your sight.
Okay, so you have a couple of choices here as far as the skill tree goes. You have kind of your standard blue tree for pretty much everybody. Now, one thing that's important to note as far as the blue tree goes is it still has the traditional... it still has the traditional blue tree for Empire, which means you do not have Renowned and Feared. Which sucks. Like most other factions, especially in Warhammer 2, I think they may all have this. They have a single skill point at the end that gives you like 8% movement, or it's 8% cost reduction on your army, like 5% movement range, and like 3 or 4 other abilities. It's really, really good. But they don't have that. They just have Headhunter, which is okay. It's like recruitment capacity and stuff like that. But a lot of our big units are going to come from the supply line, so this does not affect supply line units. However, Blue Tree still does have Lightning Strike, which is really good. Especially when you're facing multiple armies, like if we're fighting Skaven, or even a lot of times Lizardmen will just send waves of skink armies at you. And then 15% upkeep for everybody is obviously really good. So, especially on Legendary. The replenishment is also quite good. So, that tree is really good in kind of the mid to late game. These right here are kind of bad though for early game. So, recruitment cost doesn't matter. A lot of your units are really cheap. You're going to be using the supply line units, which don't cost anything to recruit. So this is a feels bad. This is like pretty much 4 wasted points to get to this, and Irrepressible is okay. That's just Lords in your army. That does not include your heroes, the 30% replenishment. So it's just Wulfhart. So it's okay. It's not amazing though. So a lot of factions, if you're playing on Legendary, you want to go through the blue tree first because you're going to have such a diverse army that you're not going to be able to... like the red tree's just not going to make any sense. However, Empire has a really, really good red tree. So if you look at Empire's Finest, this covers Spearmen, Swordmen, and Halberdiers. We're not going to get Flatulence. Those really aren't worth it unless you have the, I'm blanking out his name, the guy that gets a lot of bonuses to Flatulence in the original Warhammer. But plus 8 melee attack and defense to 3 different, like, you know, staples in your army, and we're going to have a lot of those units, is very, very good. So Empire's Finest is extremely strong. And then Pistol Corps is also amazing. You get 20 ammo and 12% damage on Militia, which we're not going to get those. But you get it on Crossbowmen, Huntsmen, Archers, and Pistoliers, and Outriders. That includes, like, Outriders with grenade launchers. So that's really, really good. And those units are awesome if you can get them later on. So... it's very, very good in the early and the mid game, and this is going to be good throughout the whole game. I mean, those halberds are clutch against beastmen throughout the whole game, so those are some really, really good red trees there. And then you have some decent other stuff. This one's pretty good. Hi, Rory. What are you doing?
She got a book.
Oh, you got a book, huh?
Martin sent her a book.
Yay. This is weapon strength and armor for great swords and demigryphs. So that's pretty good. Those are like 2 of your key, like, late game units. So they changed off of Mighty Forge, and I'm really glad they did that because the Mighty Forge used to be for demigryphs and like steam tanks, basically, which it just gave this ward save, and it just kind of sucked. So I'm glad that they put the demigryphs in Honest Steel, because I think I'm pretty sure it used to only apply to great swords. So that was a good call. So now that's actually pretty good too. Speed of Horse, pretty terrible. You get the armor, which is okay, but otherwise not that great. Imperial Gunnery is actually kind of legit because mortars are very, very good. But it's just if you have enough points to get them. So you got a lot of really good stuff in the red tree. And then, of course, you'll level up your units really quickly. For some reason, the Imperial supply units seem to level, like, super fast, at least in my experience. I don't know if they get extra experience or what, but it's pretty solid. You get extra melee defense and leadership for a lot of your kind of lower level stuff. Sharpshooter is for all of your ranged units, get 12% more damage and 10% more reload time. So that's super good. And these are a lot of your late game units, get 15% physical resist, 5 melee attack, and 5 melee defense. That's crazy for 1 point on greatswords, halberdiers, Reichsguard, and demigryphs. So that's crazy. Remember, you're going to get Reichsguard and demigryphs off of those supply lines for cavalry. So that's really, really good. So yeah, really good stuff out of the red tree. So I think you want to go red a lot early, blue tree later on. Once you start getting, like, start having some cost problems, quartermasters comes in clutch, and this other stuff's like, okay. And I would not get these. I was listening to a guide from some other content creators. I think, forgot who he was. The Italian Spartacus was, you know, saying that. And I see a lot of content creators make this mistake. They'll go for, like, duelist stuff. So, you know, they'll be like, oh my gosh, you can get 15% extra missile damage or, like, 12% reload time on one guy, Wulfhart, who really doesn't do that much. I mean, just think about it. Would you rather buff up, like, I don't know, 10 units in your army or like one guy in your army? Who's going to put out like more damage? Who's going to like get more kills? Most of the time with most factions, it's of course going to be the 10 units. So if you have a really good red tree that affects like at least 5 units that you're going to have in your army, you need to go red. This stuff is not like, he's not a great fighter. You know, he's okay. Like, I guess he's got 58 melee attack, 52 defense, but he only has 4,000 health. He can't get a mount. He only has 50 armor. Like, dude's not that good, honestly. He's okay. I mean, his claim to fame is being able to snipe people out. And yes, you can increase your focus shot a little bit, but it's not worth it. Just trust me, it's not worth it. This stuff is pretty good. When you get to this, the Survivalist is good. You get campaign movement and casualty replenishment. And Elite Irregulars is solid. 15% discount on Huntsman. And then Sleight of Hand, I think this is super good. You get to fire twice with your Huntsman. That's how I'm interpreting double shot. But we'll see. Anyway, so right now, I think I want to go for Inspiring Presence. I know there are some people that will go Root Marcher, but I just want to be as strong as I can just because these are so good early. I need to get at least this one, and then we can stop and get Root Marcher. And then maybe Pistol Corps after that. Now, it's a toss-up. A lot of people, and I was tempted to do this the first time, is to get Pistol Corps because you get so many bonuses to ammo and missile. But you really, really need to, like, this is so strong. You need to have your front line not die. I can't stress how important that is. If your spearmen die, your archers are worthless. These are not hybrid units.
Trophy for
they
the Hunts
are
Marshal.
worthless in melee combat. So you must have a front line. They must survive. That's how I see it. Okay, so let's go ahead and fight again here.
Wulfhart.
I think we might be able to auto this.
Marcus Wulfhart. Kill to protect. We cannot win.
Okay, so we can auto that.
I've no time
We
for
don't really
human
need the
baggage.
campaign movement this early because we're just going to be like fighting stuff that's close to us.
The Emperor grants this pardon.
Yeah, I think you just
Today,
pretty much always take
you
the money.
live. I am the Hunts Marshal.
Okay,
Marcus
like I need help.
Wulfhart. Step to it.
She ran in with the remote, and she said, "Look, Mommy, what I have."
Mission accomplished.
Or what I got.
She found it. Okay,
Yeah, or you know.
nice. We're going to level this up. And my dirty secret here is I think that archers are actually better to get until you get to huntsmen. I know they're more expensive, but or not archers, crossbowmen. I know that the archers are very, very tempting because they're very cheap. But really, the extra 75 gold is worth the range, I think. So it's the same armor, same leadership, I'm pretty sure. Missile damage. You actually do 1 more missile damage with archers. You have more ammo with archers. But I'm telling you right now, that 40 range is huge. And it's not just because, you know, you get to fire when people, you know, when they're further away, which is good. But also because when you're changing targets and you have units that are only 120 range, they'll have to run over each other to reach the next target. A lot of times, if you're trying to get the people on the left, for example, to fire on units that are a little further off to the right, that you, like some skinks or something that you need to focus fire, they will have to run over there, and that means that they might walk into melee on accident. They're going to be bumping into each other, walking over each other. If your units get clumped
done,
up
comrades.
as archers, it's terrible because a lot of them just won't fire, and you'll end a fight with like your archers with like
Ragtaggers.
75% of their ammo left because they were clumped up on top of each other. So anyways, I think I'm actually going to go for some archers and at least
Marcus
some crossbowmen. I
Wulfhart.
think maybe you can have 1 or 2 short range archers and put them like on the sides so they don't have to rotate as much maybe, but you really need some crossbowmen until you can get to the huntsman. And huntsman you can't get until it's tier 3. Okay, here. Now, this is a little bit different because, yeah, that applies to, I think everything applies to crossbowmen. Crossbowmen, and then these skills also apply to crossbowmen, right? Yeah, so crossbowmen get all the same benefits as the archers. They just don't get the 50% discount, which is relevant. It's 75 gold apiece, but I'd rather pay up a few hundred gold to have extra range. So we're gonna buy some more units. We could have attacked this town, but it's actually pretty rough early on. I guess they don't have that much there yet. I don't think I could hit it this turn. But like these Saurus are actually kind of difficult to deal with.
Marcus Wulfhart.
I think we'll go with some swordsmen. They just have way more offense than a lot of other stuff.
Shall never fall.
We'll do some swordsmen, and then we'll do like one archer. Okay, hiring this. Now, the choices that we have here for this, you can go down to, I think the big ones are this, which gives you an additional reinforcement with each Imperial supply delivery. Now, I don't know. I think it's just one extra unit. It's not double. So it gives you one extra detachment, so just like one extra unit for 12 turns. Or the other one I would go for are state-issued infantry armor. Now keep in mind that applies to your front line, like your swordsmen and your spears, and your missile infantry. So that applies to all of your archers, huntsmen, all that stuff too, who are going to be taking fire from enemy missile fire a lot of times too. So that's really, really good. I mean, that's most of your army is 15 extra armor. And when you have units that only have 20 base armor, that's a lot of extra survivability. So that is extremely good. And then 10% weapon strength eventually when we get more great swords can be quite good as well. And this also applies to great swords too. In the base game, the state-issued infantry armor only applied to state troops, which are like your tier 1 units, but this actually applies to great swords too. Even though they have a lot of armor, you can never have enough. It's great. So that's good. You can go for these reinforcements if you want an extra unit. The question is, like, this isn't going to show up for our first detachment, for our first thing, and it may not even show up for our second. We might get our second group of stuff before turn 12, so we don't really need the cost reduction on ports. It's okay, but we're not going to get a ton of ports for the first 20 or 30 turns of the game. The other option is you can go for this stuff over here, the reload time reduction, which is really good, missile fire, and extra ammo. So this is quite good. But it's just how much... This also adds leadership, which is not a waste when you only have 50 leadership early. Like, having extra leadership is really important, especially on your front line. So I think I'm going to go with state-issued armor. And then we'll probably go for this stuff. And then we might go for reinforcements after that. I think just getting one extra unit, I don't know if it's worth it. I feel like the 15 armor is just so crazy early on. You have to have that. This is one that you can spend one turn on, which is super good. You need to get this if you have the money for it. 7,000 gold. It's 10 leadership and 10 melee defense against Greenskin, Skaven, and Lizardmen. That's almost everything that you're going to fight down here, except for Vampire Coast. But everything else, it's amazing. It's really, really good. That's everything. That's demigryphs, that's spears, that's crossbowmen, anything gets those buffs. So, it's very strong. This other stuff kind of sucks early on. Like, you can think of it later, but on Legendary, you want those stats. Like, the immediate stats, like ASAP. So this growth is okay, but once again, you can't get a lot of those top tier units for a long time anyway, so you don't need to get to tier 4. Commodity trading is terrible until later on. You know, local militia, recruit ranks are okay, but most of your big hitting units are going to come from those reinforcements, which don't benefit from that. Settlement buildings, 10% extra income. Doesn't matter when you only have like 2 buildings. You might get an extra, like, I don't know, maybe 50 gold a turn or something early game. It's not that great. Late game, it's awesome. 10% from trade, once again, doesn't matter early. Upkeep reduction on certain knights and stuff, doesn't matter. So a lot of this stuff is just bad early on. This is actually pretty good if you can afford it, but I don't think you can. Actually, not that one. This one. The extra +3 for battle wizards is really nice, but industry, all this stuff is pretty bad early on. Until you get a lot of units, or until you get a lot of settlements, it's not that great. And then... you know, when you get artillery later, you have a similar thing for that, which can be good. And then this one is, you know, cavalry, melee. Like, that's pretty good with cav, if you get a lot of cav. Okay, anyway, so we're going for state-issued armor, though. Okay, what are we looking like on time? 39, whatever. Okay, so these are the hunters that I can show you here. Now, I'm not sure how y'all feel about this, but I figured just for fun I could narrate this. These are already going to be pre-recorded, so sorry if you don't like that, but I feel like it'd be pretty fun if I just narrate the story so you can kind of get into it. Basically, there are these 4 hunters, and it tells you where to find them to start. So with this one, if you're at war with Vampire Coast Mutineers, you get him, which I can declare war on them right now, and I will. You get a hero, and then it kind of tells you what they do. Proficient at killing the undead. They can be specialized either veteran warrior or healer. That happens at rank 4, I believe. And then for the final battle for the campaign, you get different buffs depending on which ones you get. And they're like from different like races, which I think is cool. Like Witch Hunters, obviously Empire. Then you have a dwarf here. Very good for artillery, which is going to be great kind of in the mid game. Mortars are really, really strong. And some of the other artillery is okay. But yeah, that's pretty solid. You have to go to Northern Spine of Sotek, which is, I think, like right here. Someone got a case of the giggles in there. This one, you have to raise your hostility to very hostile, which is going to happen really fast. That means you just have 2 skulls. You pick her up. She's a Wood Elf Warden, and then she gets some stuff. And then you have this dude where you have to go to this area, which I don't remember the exact place. I think it's like right here. So it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to run down there through the jungle, but it's worth it. So you pick him up and it'll be good. Now, whenever you pick up these heroes, then you do get some of this prestige, or acclaim, rather. And when you get to 20 acclaim, remember that's when we get advanced supplies, which is huge. That means we can get those demigryphs on the supplies, so we want to get that ASAP. And we can also actually build the barracks, so we can get great swords. Now, that's expensive to get that. It's 4,000 there, and you have to spend 10,000 here. But great swords are awesome, and that also allows us to hire huntsmen, which are, you know, just better versions of crossbowmen. So, very, very good. But since we're about to pick up the dude, I'll go ahead and read it. So this is like your journal from your perspective as Wulfhart, and then whenever you do the quest, then it gives you just kind of like a third-person narrative explanation about what that character's thinking. So it's kind of cool to get the different perspectives. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this real quick, and then I'll narrate it, and then we'll pick him up just to get old role-playing in here for fun, and then we might be able to get one more fight in here at the end. Okay, so what a God's forsaken place this truly is. It seems that not a day goes by without the news of some horrible tropical disease striking down some poor settler. The most innocuous cut or scratch sustained here can become horribly infected within hours, making every trek into the jungle highly risky. A highly risky endeavor indeed. Perhaps by fate, word has reached me of a mysterious individual who shadows the Empire's troops in the deep jungle, patching up the wounds of the gravely injured left behind following skirmishes with the lizards. Men thought to be well within Moore's deathly embrace have been mysteriously brought back from the brink by someone who clearly has advanced medical training, with even the most horrendous injuries cleaned, disinfected, and stitched as if by the hands of the most highly trained physician of all the Empire. Our very own injured relate to me their encounters with this leader, not remembering much other than a glimpse of a necklace of fangs. Trophies, perhaps. I have been in a few environments more treacherous to man than Lustria. It goes without saying that for us to endure here, we should somehow reach out to this medic and persuade them to join our cause. Okay. And my reading will get a little bit better as I do more into it. Okay, but we need to declare war on Vampire Coast Mutineers.
You'd look worse for wear too after plying the seas for
usually if you're going to
centuries.
declare war, see if someone will pay you for it. We haven't discovered the factions they're at war with, so we can't get any payment, so we're just going to go ahead and declare war.
Ready?
Boom. Okay, he joins our expedition. While following a trail through the dense jungle canopy, you stumbled upon a clearing strewn with dead bodies. They looked like seafarers, senior admiralty of some sort perhaps. But stranger still was the fact that each had a stake through the chest and was decapitated.
Mission
On closer
accomplished.
inspection, you realize they were already dead before they met this gruesome fate. In fact, not dead, but undead. Vampires. A few nights later, a mysterious man emerged from the jungle, introducing himself as Hertvig von Hall. His garb indicated he was a witch hunter of the Empire, but he revealed himself to be the healer you have been seeking. Explaining your cause to him, you asked him to join the expedition. He accepted, but on one condition, that you help him with his own mission in Lustria in return. Okay, so the next thing, and I'll read this next. I don't want to read too much, but I can read this one next as we go. We basically need to move one hero into a Vampire Coast region, so that's going to be him. And we can just move him down there. I guess, I mean, we could go ahead and do that right now. You get focused. I won't get to use him in this fight, though. I might need him in this fight.
They will be judged.
I think I'm going to wait 2 turns and try to hire here. We have virtually no replenishment. I guess that's fine.
Well done, comrades.
I guess we'll go ahead and click down there. Okay, so I'll read it again real quick here, and then we'll go to the next chapter once we put someone down there. Okay, so Hertvig von Hall is an intriguing individual. He bears the surname of a well-known ancient lineage of witch hunters, but for reasons unknown to me, he seems rather ashamed of it. When I brought it up, he responded angrily, claiming his vocation as a witch hunter was not his choosing. He then quickly changed the subject, revealing that he was a master physician of Altdorf and insisted I address him as Herr Doctor. It truly beguiles me while a physician from Altdorf is carrying out witch hunter duties in Lustria, but I am not one to poke about in another man's private affairs. There is certainly much more to Herr Doctor, which perhaps in time he will reveal of his own volition, but right now he has temporarily left the camp. Before leaving, he told me he intends to track down some information about one particular vampire he has been searching for, Alistair the Red. He has given me assurances that I cannot help him with this particular task, and that he will return soon. Okay, so he's going to go down here. He's going to step in this property.
Pick up the pace.
Herr Vertvig returns to you in good spirits and renewed focus, explaining that he now has a solid lead in his search. The vampire he seeks is one of the infamous Pirate King's closest henchmen, who actively haunts the waters of the Vampire Coast to raise more potential recruits into his master zombie crews. To find him, some raiding may be necessary. Okay. So you get this bonus to him, which is kind of cool. Okay, so now I think... I don't know exactly where the property line is here. I think it's right here, where the next person is. It's him. Okay, so it's that province right here. Okay, so there's all this crap. Okay, so I guess it's just a straight shot. I'm not sure which one's faster. That might be Zalantep. Okay, so it's blue. It'll take 2 turns. That's also relatively blue. Which one's faster? This one looks like it might be a little faster. Okay, and I think that little crew there is that. Okay, so what's our fastest route? Might be right here.
Onwards.
Okay. So there's the property line, I believe. So he should be able to just cross over this line right in here. And that'll step onto the property, and then we'll head over here and see if we can get these, get the dwarf after that. It's really important that we grab all of them because it gives us 4, and we need to get to 20 in order to get the Imperial Guardians. Okay. So we'll read the stuff. Next episode, we'll keep going. I swear it's not all reading. It's just when you first get them. Then you get a few things there. Okay, so we're hiring some more stuff here. We're going to get this, and then we're going to wait one more turn, hire a few more units, and then we'll get in there. Okay. As far as this goes, the only person that you can be friendly with is this guy.
Haggle on this fine Obenthal.
All right.
He'll take it, and then I'm going to go ahead and give him a little money here just to get this, just to improve our relations with him. So let's offer him some money.
Receive.
We're gonna get a decent chunk from fighting a lot, and you know we would like to try to confederate with him eventually. So,
Captain
anyways,
of
okay,
Scouts.
there's that. So we'll go ahead and end this turn, and then it'll get going a lot faster with future turns. There's a lot of exposition here, just explaining the different mechanics, explaining what's going on. We did get a pretty good fight there at the beginning, and then we'll try to get some more fights after that. You'll get to see what the supply lines are that are coming in. And just remember, at first, we're going to go for, obviously, completing our province. And then I believe we're going to have time to run down there. And we'll see how much we have. We might actually sack and then try to occupy that little vampire town just so that we get to 20. So that when we do the supply line, we can get those demigryphs. We might have to own that town to get to 20. I'm going to see when we take over Chotek how much we get. But we're going to get 16 points from the heroes that we unlock. I don't think I can do it before the first arrival, though. We've got 3 turns. We're only going to be able to get down here in, like, 1 turn, or it's going to take 2. We're going to have to go to probably, like, right here would be where we want to be. And then we want to try to run over to here. Okay, so that's not a very good way to go about it. So that's like super jungle, I guess. So we do not want to go that way. Yeah, like right here, I guess. Might be a little bridge or something over here. Oh, those are ruins too. I know that one of the quests is also to search some ruins. So I think we can just go like this way. Try to tag the edge of that. It's going to take a while. Yeah, it's going to be several turns. Now, the Witch Hunter is not that great in combat, so
Now.
it's probably best just to unlock the heroes. We will get the other heroes we can use in combat, though, even though we won't have him. But yeah, maybe by the second delivery of supplies, we can have a certain amount. I don't know. I pressed something weird there, I guess. But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Good in-depth strategy, and we'll keep talking about what to do and sort of the different approaches I'm going to take to the campaign. Like I said, I think the thing that sets me apart is I play it on Legendary. I explain everything that I do. I'm actually going to narrate the quests for you, and then I'm just doing things a bit differently, you know. I'm going to be focusing on the infantry early, because I think that's kind of the backbone of what you should be doing, and you really need that to survive, rather than focusing all of my stuff on the archers right away, although we will upgrade the archers pretty soon. But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did. Stay tuned for future episodes, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.